And 3 and 2 and 1. What's up, y'all? It's your boy. It's the man with the plan, the dude with the mood, the eye in the sky. Yes, none other than I, Mr. Sam, the crazy man Vera, and I am running the show dolo tonight. George is not going to make it, but we have a very special guest. We have Carissa Grant. She's talking about Worthy Chaos. We're going to be chatting for the first 15 minutes about how the game has changed. How so? The only way to find out is by sticking around. Let's get it.
We are the only show for independents all around, giving you a platform to spread your word all over town. Catch the Craze is the place to promote to your fans with the dream of Medina and Sam the Crazy Man. Subscribe to our show and never miss an episode. It's time to get your mans, listen to us on the go. Updated every week, we never miss a day. Join the squad, come on in. It's time to catch the Craze. If you are an independent, catch the Craze. Making moves on your own, catch the Craze. On your grind in the streets, catch the Craze. Join the movement, catch the Craze.
Yeah, George, we did it again. Come on now. You know you want to do it. Catch the Craze. Welcome to Catch the Craze podcast. I'm your host with the most, Sam, the crazy man, Vera. And I am with Duty. Hey, what's up, everybody? It is your boy.
Yay!
It is the man.
Oh, you crazy.
Yeah, I'm flying this ship solo tonight. What's up, Lou in the house? Lou's into his house. Yeah, flying solo tonight. So George is running late from work and packing for New York Comic Con and all that other stuff. You know, not everybody could be like Sam and get everything packed and still be on the show. Just saying. Oh, shots fired, shots fired.
Oh, you crazy.
What's up, End of Zed? What's up, Casey, the Sledge Storyteller? What's up, everybody? Yeah. So tonight, flying the ship solo. What's going on? We're going to have Carissa Grant on the show tonight. She's going to be talking about Worthy Chaos. Her books are currently right now on Kickstarter doing their thing. And but I thought I'd get things crack-a-lacking first. Remind everybody, I will be at the Cowtown Comic Con next weekend. So yeah, it's Cowtown Comic Con. I'll be there. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be my second appearance. I did one 2 years ago, and I skipped last year. And this year I'm going to be back again. A dangerous going solo. Take a Wookie. I know, right? What's up, Dan in the house? Yeah. So Cowtown Comic Con, last show for the year. It is over for me for the rest of the year. I'm going to just relax, get caught up on some stuff. Work on some projects. I got some big things coming up for next year, so it's gonna be pretty cool. What's up, White Fire Comics? What's going down? Gilly in the house. Wow, I'm feeling special tonight. I'm feeling the love, man. And virtual hugs for everybody. There you go, hug for you and a hug for you. But yeah, so I'm getting ready. That's my last show for the year. If you know, I have 7 comic strips produced by A Kid in a Comic. If you haven't picked up A Kid in a Comic, go to akidinacomic.com and get yourself a copy. It's a comic book, comic strip newspaper just about comics, and Duty is a comic strip in there. Go and check that out. That's going to be dope. And yeah, man. So I thought I'd get things cracking because we got a few minutes before our guest shows up. She's going to come in a little early. Normally, George and I do the Get Your Mate segments, and we run through about 7:30. But this time, you know, I got a topic. I thought I'd bring it up. I've been here solo before. You can definitely handle. Thank you. If you go back to the early days of Catch the Craze, there's about maybe 40 episodes where it was just me just doing my thing. So I'm no stranger to it, you know. But I got all of you to back me up, so I'm good. So I was watching this interview online. Sam being the Oprah virtual hugs. There you go. Yes, you get a hug and you get a hug. So I was watching this interview, a bunch of artists, mainstream artists, right? And they were talking about how the game has changed, right? Back in the days, everyone is trying to get published. Everybody's trying to break into the comic book game, and they went in with their portfolios, right? And when you went to conventions, it was either comic creators who were actually published by the big companies or independently produced comics. Now, when you go to conventions, what you see is the majority of Artist Alley is taken by print artists who are basically a lot of unknowns who are just capitalizing on existing characters, and they're print artists. And then you also have like paraphernalia artists, right? So artists that create little cutesy stuff, and they have all these trinkets and pins and buttons. So the game has changed significantly. The hustle back then was about breaking in and getting published. Today it's just about making money and just getting your art seen any way possible. And the best way to do it is to do a mainstream character, right? And when you go to anime cons, that's why Anime Expo in California has put a big rule that you cannot be an Artist Alley doing licensed products because it's so rampant. But I found it fascinating watching this interview with these mainstream guys talking, and they were interviewing, I forgot the name. Who were they interviewing at the time? Forgot the name of the show. I should have saved the link. I was watching it the other day when I was drawing. But I thought it was fascinating. I would like to hear your thoughts about what it is, because I go to shows and that's what I see. When you walk through Artist Alley, you're gonna have like maybe 3 out of 5 tables are print artists. Tried that. Good conversations, fun talks. Hold on, my stuff's free. Now there it is. There it is. Fun talk, storyteller approach, but not an avenue to get published. Yeah. So I've been to so many art events where you see Artist Alleys, like 3 out of every 5 tables, it's a print artist, or a Chotsky artist. I don't know what you call them, where they're just doing multiple paraphernalia, but it's not their stuff, right? They're doing existing IPs to get because they know it's hot at the time, right? And you'll see what's happening in the game. So if you got an Avengers movies coming out, you're gonna see a lot of Avengers stuff, right? Print. You got a Predator movie coming out. You're gonna see all that stuff, and then you have the scantily clad artists, whatever. I never really thought about it until these guys were talking about it. And another part that they talked about was published artists from back in the days that had huge fan bases, and they would have lines at the tables. That you go to conventions now, and they don't have that same reaction or the same following, right? That you see them, they were big at one time, but then you go to conventions. I forgot the name of the artist when we were in San Antonio at the Superhero Comic Con. Forgot the name of the artist, but well known in the game. He's an artist alley, not even promoted, no notoriety, no lines. It was just crazy. I didn't understand it. But it put things into perspective, right? I'm not a fan of print artists using other people's characters to make money. Yeah, and I think but the game has changed, right? I mean, when you think about it, the hottest things to go after are, what is it? The expired copyrights, right? Open domain, IPs, right? Or your work, your style of art, but somebody else's character, like Marvel Comics or DC Comics character, Superman or Batman, and that's what you see. I was looking at, and convention promoters are just trying to fill a table, so they don't really care. They're not vetting. They say they do. They say there's like a selection, but they just want to sell the table, right? So you can be an independent comic book publisher in an aisle where everybody's either selling trinkets or they're print artists, and you're probably the only one that's doing self-published comics. And that's the real thing. So I don't know what your thoughts about it. It was interesting just watching these guys, very successful mainstream artists, talking about it on their podcast, and their perspective of how it changed, and not only that, existing IPs, but now people using AI as well. So I thought it was a good starting conversation today. So if for you artists out there, I don't know how you feel about it. Look, I don't knock anybody's hustle, but has it become that much challenging to break into publishing that's the only route you can go? Another discussion that they had was, we talk about risk taking and resilience, and we talk about the success of Image Comics. And one of the creators posed the question: was it really risk taking when they were all worth millions, because they were making millions and they were getting, I forgot how much, if they've exceeded a certain amount of unit sales, they get a percentage of those sales, and they were all getting paid handsomely, to the point that Rob Liefeld was on MTV and Levi's commercials and all this stuff, and McFarlane was like the highest paid. So they walked away with bank. So how much of a risk was it for them? And I think when you think about the independent comic creators today, where there is a hesitation to try to break in, or they play the safe route, it's because money solves a lot of those problems. And these guys started out with bank. So, and they had a following, right? So they had an edge. They had an advantage. They had home court advantage because they had name recognition and they had money and they had capital, right? So was it really a risk, or was it just a smart investment, right? What says what happens all the time here. So I stopped going to big cons. Yeah. I spent 2 days vetting Comic Cons for 2025. And so many of them I just scratched off because I looked at their YouTube videos to see, because all of them have people that do walkthroughs for these events. And I look on their website and how many and their promotions. And when I see that 90% of their promotions are for the celebrities and the other 10% are for cosplay, and there's nothing talking about comic book creators, there are no panels or anything to promote comics, I stay away from it because that's not my venue, right? Because that audience is going to be, it's a pop culture show, and you're just going to get whatever comes along, and it's a gamble. So I've stayed. I looked at maybe 50 different events for next year, and I just scratched off. Nope, not going to do that one. Not going to do that one. That one, and it sounds great because they have Comic Con in the title. But if you do your homework and just go back and just look at the videos, look at where they put all their money and their effort, it's not, for me, it's not worth it. It might be worth it for some. It might be worth it for print artists, that you just do prints. But me as a comic book creator, where that's my primary role is to push my personal IP. I want to be in a venue where there are comic book fans, people who appreciate comics and appreciate new, different comics, right? So for me, it's going to be a really calculated investment, versus this past year. I jumped at the chance to try to do as many shows, and I learned a lot about what not to do and which shows to stay away from. Next year, I don't want to make that same mistake, and so I'm spending a lot of time doing research. And my advice to anybody out there: take the time before you make the investment. And then a lot of these shows, I find it interesting that some of these shows are small shows. They probably have maybe 7,000 at the gate, right? Maybe 5,000 to 7,000 attendees, but they're charging $600 for a table. The nerve of these people! If I want to pay $600, I'm going to San Diego Comic Con, right? Which brings in 150,000 people plus, right? The odds are in my favor. I'm not going to pay for a 5,000 attendee show, 5,000 for the whole weekend. It was like 2,000 a day or 3,000 a day. It's not worth it for me. I'll still go to FanX as long as my promoter group is covering table fees. Yeah, smart. That's smart. Is this where the party is? What's up, Lori in the house? Yes, it is. Comic only events started popping up in the last few years. Yeah, that's how I broke into the comics. Which show was this? Which show was which? You gotta refresh my memory because I am getting older, and I said a lot. I'm not sure what you're referring to, but I'm looking for more for comic centric events or local art shows. Oh, um, oh, I think it was like RetroCon or something like that. It's like 6,000, 7,000, whatever. There's like a bunch of events out here that they're charging crazy fees. Um, I stay away from big shows like Fan Expo because I don't like Fan Expo. Number one, you're paying $600, 500 and something dollars for a 6 foot table. And the tables are all bumped up against each other. You got maybe 2 feet behind you, right? So you got your banner and your chair, and it's hitting each other, and you don't have enough space. So you're gonna charge that money. Give me an 8 foot table and give me a 10 by 10 booth. So I stay away from FanX. I stay away. I'm staying away from San Antonio Superhero Comic Con. I'm staying away from the show I did in Waco last year. I worry that once a trend with print artists, for example, has become the norm, so where does the original artist go? Yeah, uh, I'm just gonna stick with small shows with little celebrities who focus on comics. Yeah. So you need a loan from a show client. I need more than a loan. That was fantastic. Yeah, I heard that was a tight space. Yeah, I did it. I did it. I got there. So I did. They sent me my table assignment for Fan Expo. I promoted the hell out of where I was going. Then I get there and there's somebody at my table. So now I got to go back to the reception area and I was like, hey, what happened to my table? Oh, we rearranged the space last minute. Why? Because they gave it to a publisher that paid for 8 tables for their team, and then they put me in the opposite end, totally opposite of where I was supposed to be. Then I was where by this Marvel Comics writer who had a line that blocked my table. And it was barely any space behind me, and it was a 6 foot table, and it was tight. And there was no respect or no regard for the little guy. So I was like, you know what? Screw you, Fan Expo. I'm out of here. Um, let's see. Up here in Canada, a comics only event is the Capital Comic Book Convention. Yeah, it is. I have about 3 mainly indie comic cons coming up in the next 6 months. Much more promising. Yeah. I think I'd rather do a lot more smaller shows that are cost effective, where their return rate is significantly higher for me. Like I'm doing LitCon. I did LitCon last year. LitCon I did extremely well last year. The only problem with LitCon was it was hampered by the rain, the thunder. I mean, the skies opened up in that day. It was around 4 hours in, and I was killing it. And then 4 hours in, lightning, thunder, hail. It was just got crazy. Got dark outside, so then everyone just vacated. But I love that show. The promoter's amazing to me. And I'm gonna do that show again. It's a really small show. It's in like a library, but they fed us. They got us at, I don't know if it's Chick-fil-A, I forgot what it was, or Whataburger. It was Whataburgers. They were really good to us, and it was a small show, right? So I'd say don't shy away from the small shows. Be very selfish with your money before you invest in giving the big boys your money to do their show. Make sure that you're setting yourself up for success at these shows and do some homework. But with that said, we do have our guests in the waiting room. We're going to talk to Carissa Grant, but I would remind everybody that I do have an art channel. If you haven't checked it out, check out The Art of Samuel. And if you need some reminder, here it is. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Welcome, Carissa. your mic's off.
I guess that helps.
There you go. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me back. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, sorry George couldn't be here tonight. He said that he's
you
busy.
Want to come on because I was here. I know how it is.
Yeah, he was dodging you. He was like, he's like, I'm hiding tonight. But
I get that a lot.
Yeah. So it's been a minute in a while, and you've been doing some things behind the scenes. So for anybody who's new to the show, who's watching, who's listening to us on the streaming platforms, let us know who you are and what you do.
I spend a lot of money. I'm Carissa Grant. I am the creator and writer of the Worthy Chaos series. I have been writing for 17 years, but this specific story I've been writing for 4 years this past September 21st. I write it with my co-writer, Jess. And it started... Halloween is my two-year anniversary in comics, and I have released 12 issues and 2 hardcovers, and I have additional 13 through 17 issues already done.
Wow, that
Sorry.
is fantastic. And
plus a new series. I'm starting a new series.
oh, they started a new series. Wow.
Yes, because see, I was so far ahead that I could have taken the next year, just do Kickstarters, not spend any money, and get out of debt. But I thought that would be too easy. So I started a new series, which is the same characters, but set in the 1880s. So it's a Wild West supernatural hunt. And it's mostly about they hunt cryptids like Bigfoot and Wendigos and chupacabras, Mothman, all that stuff. Some are good, some are bad. And their goal is to collect certain amount of ingredients from each one, but they only can collect it while the creature's alive. So they need a piece of the antler from a Wendigo, but they can't kill it first. So makes it a little bit more crazy for them. And there'll also be, for anyone that watches Supernatural, there'll be journals you can buy, and with each issue there will be journal pages that, as long as you back that campaign, that issue, you get the pages for free to put in your journal. So you can collect the journals as you go, and you can collect the ingredients too. We're going to make jars, and we have an apothecary box that people can get to store them in and all that fun stuff. And that actually, issue 1 is January 6th. So it's coming up. So, yeah.
So how before we go into all the hats that you wear and your approach to promoting your books, because you really give it a lot of thought, and there's a lot of different elements that tie into enticing readers. I say investors because they're invested in this world and they get to take part in this journey, right? So what was the first book that inspired you to become a writer that you've read? What was it? Oh, she's ready for me. She's ready. Wow, she's ready for me. She's like, I got you, boy.
Well, when I first decided to turn now it's 16 novels. Then I think it was 6 or 7 novels. When I first decided to turn it into a comic book series, I knew nothing about comic books. This was not planned at all in the slightest. And I had already hired an artist. And then that night I was like, I don't know how to make a script. So I woke up the next day and learned through YouTube to make a script. But I had this next to me as my inspiration. I used to sketch from it. I used to read it. I absolutely love it. And I actually have it signed now by James O'Barr, who's my idol. So that would be the first book I read. But I started originally writing because of Resident Evil 2. I role played at Claire Redfield for 15 years before I actually started role playing this character that I wrote. So yeah.
Wow. So obviously you're into supernaturals and darker, right, more mysterious stuff. So what was it about the genre that appealed to you?
There's no holds bars, man. I mean, you could do anything. I think from a couple of podcasts I've done, they asked me what's the one thing I haven't done yet, and I Aliens. I think Aliens is the only thing that I haven't done. And it was really funny because we just started the Western last month, and we already wrote 15 issues for it, and we're still writing. But it was really funny because we were thinking back to Redemption, which is the one that's live now. The hardcover is out now. And in there, like, I think it was pretty sure it's issue 6 or 7. Draven asks Serafina, what's out there? What's out there? He goes, is there a Bigfoot? And she goes, no Bigfoot yet. As we now thought of it while we're writing in Bigfoot into our into our Western. We're like, hey, there is a Bigfoot.
Right.
But yeah, I just love that you could pretty much do it. There's nothing you can't do. You know, there's
Right.
and everyone, there was a joke. I don't know what it was. What were we watching where they were like, I think it was Librarians, because I just met an actor that inspired the series, Christian Kane. I literally just met him this past weekend, and I gave him my books because I said, I'm in debt because of you. So here, have some books. But they had the show Librarians, and they said every time something screwed up, they would just say magic. so I mean, we think of anything is possible. It's just magic. So
It's
yeah,
magic.
you can do anything. Yeah.
That's awesome. So your first hand at writing and try to tackle this genre. What was that first piece that was it a short? Was it a long form story? What was it?
Oh man. Well, in school, I wrote from Terry Brooks. I wrote an insert that was from Elfstones. But for like role playing wise, I was a one liner. I'm dyslexic, and one lining is all I thought I could do, and I probably did one line for 2 years. And now that I look back on it, I mean, I had an idea while I was working today. I got home and I wrote it out in like 30 minutes, and it was like 1,400 words. So it's like I grew a little bit better at my writing, like because I think I went on vacation. Well, I went to go meet the actor this weekend. And on the way home, actually during his concert, of course, I get the best idea for the story, like right in the middle of the concert, that I had to literally just write it on my phone. And on the way home, I was so excited about it. It was a 9-hour drive that I just did it voice to text. And it was like 1,400 words by the time I was done. But I get so obsessed with it that I can't even imagine doing one line now. Like I can't even write one line to explain the idea that I want to write. So I grew a little bit, but I remember one lining, and I remember it went to para, which is like 200 words, and then I think I did finally multi-para, which was like 600 words. And I told myself, I'm never going to be able to do novelaire. It's like 1,000 words. It's never going to happen. I don't even know what they're writing in there. It's stupid. And then somebody explained it and kind of showed it. And I was like, all right, I'll try. And then I thought 1,000 words was a lot. I thought it was a lot. Now I write like 2,000 words. It's like nothing's happened. Like I don't know how am I on 2,000 words? Nothing's even happened. I haven't even moved. But yeah, I'm just a slightly obsessed with the story. And I think I've calculated that it's like we just passed. What did I just see today? I think we're at 115,000 words just for the Western.
Wow.
And we already passed 1 million words like 8 months ago. so I don't know where we are now, but we were at 1 million mark. And for anyone that doesn't know, I write the story and I write everything Serafina. But my co-writer Jess writes everything Draven. So the characters have 2 different personalities. So when you read it, it's really cool to have the back and forth and all that stuff. It really brings the character to life. And I had this idea in my head for this story for 11 years until I found my co-writer. So I held out. Like there was so many great writers that wanted to do it. And I was like, no, you're not it. So, and then 24 hours after meeting Jess, I was like, you want to roll? And Jess is like, I don't take roles. Yes. So that was it. So we've been writing ever since we celebrated our 4 years, September 21st. So.
Oh, that is fantastic.
Yeah.
So Lou says, James borrowed my watercolors at a con one time. I can't say on here why he was painting, but he needed flesh color. Nice. Lol to me.
Yeah.
And Lori says you can pay me $1 and I'll spoil it.
I'll do it for free. As Lori would know, I'm surprised she would say that. She has to stop me from spoiling. She can't stand it. I will tell you anything about my story at all. Because first of all, in my view, whatever I say, you're not going to want to not read it. You're going to want to read it more and be like, what the hell is she talking about? Like, what is going on? So, yeah, you can pay, you can pay me, I'll pay you $1 and I'll tell you what happens. But, But yeah, I love spoilers. I will sit here and tell the whole story. It doesn't affect me in the least. She hates
You
it.
know what I find fascinating. You mentioned that you suffer with dyslexia, but
Yep.
yet you're able to focus and write and
Weird,
and
right?
complete what you start. How
Yes.
did what did you do to overcome that and to create that focus?
So I don't know if this really helped or I just made it up in my head, but so there's a lot of things about dyslexia that people don't realize. Some people just think you just see letters backwards and that's it, but it's not. For some reason, weird things happen. Like while you're writing, there's movement happening over here that nothing's there. And that was a big thing because you're always looking, and it's not ghosts. I've seen ghosts. It's not ghosts. You're always looking, and you're like, "What?" And I never knew what that was until I didn't know I was actually officially dyslexic until my 30s. Like I failed spelling, and I failed word problems, and I never knew any of that until I was an accountant, and I was like, can't get these numbers. Um, but for some reason, when I start to write, I have to pause the TV. Like I literally have to turn on the TV and pause it. And for some reason, I don't know if my brain thinks everything's paused, but I don't ever have that. There's something over here. Um,
Oh, interesting.
yeah, it's really weird because I used to literally think there were, I know that doesn't make any sense, but I used to think there were ads on the side of my computer. And I was just like, where do they go? Like, where are they? They're not there. So it's really weird that was, but I didn't know any of that until I actually looked up all these little symptoms of dyslexia that nobody ever talks about ever.
Yes. Yeah.
So
And I've had several people on the show who were transparent about dealing with it. And everyone, like you said, deals with it differently, right? And has
yeah,
different challenges based on the form of dyslexia they have. And I always find it fascinating because I also know people who have it and it stunts their ability to move forward and and commit. I guess that's the word, right? And so the fact that you're able to produce so much volume and content. I mean, you were just celebrating how many words that you've already written,
yeah,
right? So, right? So
yep.
I think that is tremendous. And then the fact that was it by accident, just by pausing the TV, you realized that you made some sort of
Yeah.
breakthrough?
Yeah. My co-writer, we're crazy. We send chapters back and forth nonstop, and it doesn't matter if it's 3 a.m. We'll go right. Like it's just crazy. So Jess probably sent me a chapter, and I was in the middle of watching TV, and I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna pause it, and I'll get back to it. And I just sat and I started writing, and then I realized that I wrote like 3,000 words, and I was like, oh, we should try that again. And then I think the most I ever did in one sitting was 6, but it had to
Wow.
been like a crazy chapter. Like that had to be like a crazy something's going down kind of crazy. Like on the way home, I had that idea would not get out of my head. To me, and this is where they're gonna put me in a rubber room. I feel like the character shows me what the reply
Right.
is, and the character does not show me the reply until it's time, usually until it's time to write.
Right.
So I don't even know what I'm gonna write until I sit down. And then like just thoughts pop in my head. But sometimes I get a crazy vision. And this one was just crazy. And my co-writer is very trusting because I'm the one with all those freaking ideas. And usually Jess is like, okay, yeah, all right. This time Jess was like, I don't know, it might be too soon to do that. And I was like, it's not gonna leave my head till I write it down. Like it's not gonna, I have to write it down. And then I was like, listen, I'll write it. And if you think it's too soon, I'll hold on to it, but you got to read it because it has to be written. And Jess agreed. And I wrote it and sent it. And Jess is like, oh shit, we got to do that. so it fit perfectly. It worked perfectly. It was way better than Jess thought it would be, but it was just a crazy idea. And to give you a hint of what it is, because it's far in the future, I think it's issue 12. But did you ever see The Last Unicorn?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so the flaming bull is actually in mythology, which I did not know until recently because I needed a cryptid in a cave. And I couldn't find one that I specifically wanted. And the flaming bull, which I'm sure I'm saying its name wrong, it was like Axte or Axte, whatever, was this. It's actually a good bull. It works with this goddess Mari, and they punish evil. So I actually was able to use this, and my co-writer, like I did a small little scene with it, and my co-writer took it upon herself to do another scene with it. And I was like, well, if you're gonna do that, I like burst this wide open. So now the thing is like all over, and I just love him. I love him. He's just this crazy bull who loves my character, but she keeps trying to defend Raven, who's a demon. He's a demon. And she keeps trying to defend him, and the bull's like, getting annoyed because he's like, it's an evil, demon. But it's very, very cool to use mythology creatures that actually exist. Now, the Western has over 30 cryptids. 20 of them have the ingredients, and 10 of them we made up. But we have a lot of the other things. So it's really fun to come up with these creatures that may exist, may not exist, and then be able to bring them to life in this whole thing. It's a lot of fun, and I'm obsessed with it. And I've always been obsessed with the series. So to have even more obsession with the Western is actually kind of scary. So, but yeah.
That is fantastic. So, so Casey says, I was spelling ace in school, but still need background noise when I write. So it's interesting how, everyone finds a different solution to be able to be creative. And then Lori says, I get those great ideas when I'm driving myself. And Rankin Bass Gems, Casey said. And then Whitefire Comics, I use a bubble keyword system to get ideas out quick. A teacher taught me the method back in the days. Right?
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what a bubble.
I don't know what that means. But let me tell you, so I've never studied English or anything. Somehow I know all these crazy words that I can't actually spell. So I'm old. So before Word came around and before there was Google, my parents had gotten me a spell checker computer, like a computer calculator, but I spelled them so bad that they would not show up. That's how bad they were. However, I used to have to dumb down my words. And I was crazy because I had a thesaurus in there that I don't know where any of these words came from, but I knew what other words. I don't even know how I know the big words. So I'd have to dumb down my own writing to be able to write so that I could do that. Now, my best friend is my, well, if I can pronounce it correctly, my phone's my best friend because I could just say it and it'll spell it for me. Otherwise, Google's pretty good. Or I dumb down my own word and then use the word to find the one I want. It's just crazy that I don't know where I learned these words. I don't know how they're in there. Other personalities might be smarter than me. I have no idea. But somehow I know these words, and it's kind of fun now with this technology that I can actually use some of them. So it's kind of a different environment than I used to have to dumb down my words. So, but yeah.
Why did you feel you had to? Because you didn't know the definition?
Oh, okay. No, I can spell them. Yeah. Like, because, when I was younger, no Google, no Word. You can't just put a thing. I used to have to use the encyclopedia, which was a bitch because I couldn't spell half the words I wanted to look up. But I remember just running to get this encyclopedia to try to look up these words because I love learning. I love learning. I'm very lazy though, so they contradict each other half the time. But yeah, no, I knew these words in my head. I knew what they meant. I couldn't spell them for the life of me. They were just there. Which is kind of messed up if you think about it, because my brain must know how to spell it, right? If it knows the word, it's just not sharing the information with me, which I think is pretty messed up. But
right. So if I cut you correctly, you said you were lazy, but you like to learn. Is it selective learning? Is it based on what interests you?
Yeah. If
so I wouldn't consider it lazy, I think it would be more strategic.
Yeah, we'll go with that. I like the word better. Yeah, very strategic. Yeah. We'll go with that. But yeah, my card will ask me half the time, like, where do you get these ideas? Because like I said, it's not really planned. I didn't even know when we started the Western, there was literally no thought process to it. We just wanted to see them in cowboy outfits. Like, it was just really crazy. And then by the first chapter, I was like, I know what we're going to do. And it was just hunting down these cryptids, and and these jars popped in my head and all these things. So I don't know where the hell these ideas come from, and it would scare me if I wasn't so obsessed with it. Like, these ideas are crazy. Like, they're I have over 120 something issues written with both series put together. It's 16 novels, and they're all around 100,000 words or more. So the idea is, you think that you would run it. I always say, oh, this is the best idea. There's never going to be an idea better than this idea. We always say this is the best idea yet. And then magically, like a week later, oh, we're going to do this. So I have no idea where they come from. I always joke around that the characters are from another dimension, and this happened in their dimension,
Right.
and they're just sharing it with us so that we can write it down and like record history. So that's what I always say. The characters are telling the story. I had nothing to do with this. I am just a prophet of my characters' writing. So it's got to be it.
So now, as a writer, with your own IP, you also approach it as from like a multi-phase approach with merchandising that ties into the story.
What merch?
What
are you talking about?
Right? What merch? Right?
What merch?
So,
Yeah.
why? So now, as an independent, we know it's risky and it's expensive, right? So, what made you decide I'm going to go this route and I'm going to go all in?
I wanted it, and now it's tax deductible. That's it. I wanted the plushie, it's tax deductible. I wanted that, it's tax. These things, I knew I wanted it. Now it's tax deductible. And let me tell you something. The Western, you think that I have merch now, and I thought that I had merch now, but now that I have the Western, there's like a plushie for every cryptid. There's a jar for every cryptid. There's a charm for every cryptid. There's a keychain, a button, a sticker. It's just insane how much merch I have. So I thought I had a lot of merch. Actually, I was very impressed with myself. The hardcover only has 22 tiers instead of my usual 40. And someone asked me, why is there only 22? And I was like, well, hardcovers are more expensive. People are less likely to buy, merch with it. But actually, the merch is selling pretty good. So maybe that was just my book one that the merch wasn't selling as well. But this one has sold pretty good. But yeah, I love merch. And I got made fun of. When I first started by so many creators. Oh, you're new. Why do you have plushies? Or you're new. Why do you have this? And then within 6 months, all of them. So, where do you get your plushies made? Yeah. Right, bitches. So yeah. But I got made fun of a lot when I started. So yeah. Who's laughing now?
Exactly, right? I think you got to do what's right for you and your project, right? And your property. And I think that's one of the biggest things I say to people. I said, don't follow what others are doing, create your own lane and stick to your passions. If you feel like that what you're doing is going to add value to your story, to your property, then go for it, right? Who's going to tell you how? Because at the end of the day, it's your money, it's your time.
It's funny because I could see different creators have different followers. Like my friend Ray, his followers don't care about merch. They want the crazy cover. They want the big name artist cover, and they will buy everything that has to do with it. A metal cover, a glass cover, a wooden cover. Doesn't matter. Mine aren't like that. Mine could care less about the covers. I probably don't even need to waste money on covers. I could just have one. I think they would be fine with it. I like to give them the option. I do 3 at a time. But they love the crazy merch, the 3D printed, things, the crazy plushies we have. So I think that everyone they either create that following or they just happen to be found by that following. A lot of my backers weren't originally comic book readers. Most of them, not most of them, but a lot of them said, I've never read a comic book before, but I love reading yours. And I think that's because we wrote them in novel form first, so it writes or it reads, I suppose, like a novel. You have the thought balloons, which my letter, who I love SK, but my letter was 4 seconds of, don't you want the box for the thought process? Nope. It's too impersonal. We're going to do it way more than you want to deal with. Trust me, you don't want a box. And we do. We're like, especially Draven. You can tell
Right.
the personalities. Like Seraphine is my character. She talks nonstop and barely thinks. That is me. My co-writer barely talks and thinks all the time. That's Draven. Everything that he thinks, is there. And he says like 3 words at a time. Like he barely says anything. And he's always sarcastic when he talks anyway. So without the thought balloons, you would have no idea what's going on in the story. You would not know how their feelings are, their bond, especially Draven. Like he has these internal struggles, where he loves Seraphina, but wants to push her away to keep her safe, or, all these things. So it's kind of funny. And when we started over with the Western, they had to start all over again, that whole, will they, won't they, what if, they're going to get together. Just like, how long is this going to take? I think I'm on chapter 12 and he's just saying that he loves her, but he said it in a way that she actually got manipulated to think that he was lying, and it was all this stuff. And I literally just wrote it before I came on here. So I'm like, I am just tearing my poor character's heart out. So, but yeah, the thought balloons. And when you have to remember when you're writing it, that my character doesn't know what the thought bubbles say, so otherwise she'd be like head over heels, and realize this guy would do anything for her, but she doesn't get that. She gets the scruffy, mad, always evil demon that's like, calls her sweetheart and then kills like 50 people, so
Right.
he got that little facet going on. Yeah.
Yeah. I love your synopsis, right? So you start off on your page as if you like Supernatural, Buffy, TV, Silent Hill, horror, Resident Evil. This is for you. Come immerse yourself in the dark and enthralling world of the Worthy Chaos series. A fate of heaven, hell, and the entire cosmos hangs in the balance. Seraphina, a descendant of angels, and demon descendant Draven, 2 souls bound by destiny, must unearth their forgotten powers, unlock the secrets of their past lives, and rewrite the internal conflict between angel and demon. I think that's such a strong introduction to the series. How long did it take you to write that?
Longer than 16 novels. Like, Lori says it to me all the time. She's like, you got to write a pitch or the back of it. And I was like, I have no ability to do this. Like she's like, you wrote like 16 novels. Like, those were easy. That was not easy. That was not easy at all. And it's so funny because I almost want to put at the end of the whole faith and chaos and universe way in the balance, and I just want to put after it, but our characters don't give a shit. They don't. Like, it's like, yes, everything is in the cosmos, but they don't give a shit. They only care about each other. Like, that's it. They don't care about anything else. And the angel always brings it up. Our guardian angel is always like, the whole world's gonna be destroyed. Draven's like, don't care. Like, I don't care. So it's really funny that they really don't give a shit. And the funny thing about the 2 of them is they would do anything for each other, which pisses off the other one, because the other one wants to protect the other one while the other one's protecting him already. So they really just screw each other over nonstop, which I think is amusing as all hell. So
that's awesome. I'm glad I can still hear you because your screen is frozen, but your audio is coming in perfectly.
Right.
I was like, wait. I was like,
but for me, that's
I can
weird.
still...
It doesn't even. Is it still paused? Because it's not even paused for me.
No, it's not paused. I mean, I'm still going, and I'm waving my hands. It's not paused for you, but it's paused on my end, maybe.
Maybe if I get out, I don't know.
It's also paused on Facebook. So, but because I'm looking at it on
weird.
Facebook.
Everything is perfectly. If you take me out of studio and put me back in, it might work.
Let me see. Let's try it. Remove. All right, let's add to stage.
Did that work?
And now your camera's gone.
How come I can see everything? That's so weird.
Yeah.
This is Sarah.
Remove. Add. Yeah, that's weird. Let me see.
That is weird. Maybe I should leave studio and come back in.
You want to try that?
Sure.
I can sing and dance. I'll sing. Let's see. Yeah, we're experiencing technical difficulty. There she goes. All right, let's see. She'll be back in a second, guys. So if you haven't checked it out, the link is in the chat. Let me see if I put it in again. Boom, there's the link. Worthy Chaos on Kickstarter. She's back, but there's no video of her. I don't see her. Let's see if I can hear her.
Still?
No, yeah, your camera's out, but I can hear you.
That's weird because
And I can see your logo.
that's weird. I could
Yeah.
see everything perfectly clear.
Oh, really?
Good
Yeah.
thing I'm an allowed. It's a good thing I'm an allowed Italian New Yorker because otherwise we'd have nothing. Nothing. Yeah, it's weird. Where everything works on my side. You're not even lagging. So, and me neither.
Yeah, no, I'm watching it on YouTube. I'm watching it on Facebook, and I can see your name, but I can hear you. But maybe it'll, of course, correct itself.
Nobody
But
wants to see me anyway. Like that's just there's no love lost there. Yeah.
Sam is talking into the abyss. Oh, there you go. She's back. There you go.
Woo! All right. You can just be totally like screwing with me, and I'm like, okay, I'm back. I have no idea. Everything
you
looks
go.
normal to me, so I'm just gonna take your word for it. It's gonna be some like late April Fool's trick and being like, yeah, she was frozen for whatever. But yeah. Hey, Lori.
So yeah, you were saying that how long it took you to write the pitch. Why? What was it about writing the pitch that you felt was more complicated than actually writing the story?
The only thing I could think of is the characters write the story and they don't give a shit about the synopsis or whatever. They're just
Right.
like, just write the damn. If I'm not writing the story, they're just pissed all the time. Like they're just
Right.
like, write the damn story. Stop working. I argue with my characters all the time. I'm working to pay for the damn comic, so I don't know what their problem is, but I'm like, this has to be done. And I've actually had an argument. Only one time it was a major argument, which is really weird when you think about it. I was writing a scene in like, I don't know, book 4 of Redemption and maybe even book 5. And I was writing it, typing it out. And I was like, this doesn't make any sense. I don't know where this is going. I got to start over. Character's like, nope, keep going. I was like, no. This doesn't, I don't know what the hell's going on. They're in a room and there's these things going on. The floor's weird. I have no idea what's going on. Character's like, keep writing. So by the time I was done, it was the weirdest but coolest scene ever. And I had sent it to my co-writer. My co-writer's like, where the hell did you think of that? I was like, I have no idea. And she's like, where's it going? I was like, I have no idea. And she's like, I can't wait to see what happens. Like, me neither. Like, I have no idea. But it was a very cool scene. But I could just remember thinking, this isn't going anywhere. Like, I don't know where this is coming from at all. So yeah, I have no control over this. So when the synopsis is just like, I have no idea what to write. I know what the story's about. I know every word. My co-writer doesn't remember anything. 16 novels, can't remember a thing. But I remember it all. I remember everything that happens. So it's like this whole thing up here and just doesn't work. Not only that is, and this is going to sound awful, and no one take this into consideration when you're buying my stuff. I am a horrible writer. Like I am a horrible writer. However, I am an amazing storyteller. That is why this works. Like I can never like publish my novels. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're going to release them?" No, not even on my dead body will you see these novels. But comics, it fits a comic so well. Like you see what you're supposed to see. Somehow I'm amazing at the dialogue because I write it like a person, which Lori hates. I write it the way a person talks.
Right.
And Lori's trying to correct it. And I was like, nope, that's how you don't talk like that. I don't talk like that. But yeah, my writing is just, it's not good. But man, is it, man, is it like, it translated perfectly into a comic. Like it was literally meant to be written as a comic. I didn't know that. I didn't know until like book 6. I remember thinking, what a waste of a great story. Like that no one's going to ever read this because it's such a good story. It's like, I have no talent but this and no one's going to ever read it. But yeah, you get to read it in a comic book form. So bonus. Who knew?
Nice. Yes. So you have books 1 and 2, issues 1 through 12 as hardcovers.
Yep.
I mean, you go all in because most independents stay away from hardcovers, right? Because of the price difference, right?
Yep.
That hasn't deterred you at all. And so now and you're going all in with the.
I already bought them. They're
books.
already in hand, and there's 500 of them. So yeah, they're somewhere. I'm not as prepared.
There's 500 of them, but
yeah,
they're somewhere.
They're here. Hold on, I got this. Here we go. So this is the. It was probably right next to me, and I still didn't get it right, but this is the hardcover.
Sweet.
And got the back. It's got
I mean,
200
that
pages,
wraparound cover is pretty sweet.
right? And then it's got
Yeah.
the heavyweight 80-pound paper. And this printer's great. Oh, it smells new. This printer, they have 9 colors instead of the usual printers that have 5, so it's really cool. But the
Right.
back has like the pinup from Christmas with her on the Impala. Lori, look, it's a crossover picture where you can see Jude's there about to get beaten up by Draven for touching Serafina, which is one of my favorites.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot. All the variant covers are there. And then we have, which is new, you get to see the progression of the pages. So it starts with, the crazy sketch, the pencil, the ink, and the color. And then you get to see the progression of the pages, which is kind of cool. So yeah, it worked
sweet.
out really well, and I really love this book. Crossover print. It's one of my favorite crossovers. It's so funny. I don't even know if you could see it, but I don't know why Draven has no shirt on. I have no idea. My artist did it. I don't know why. He looks like the Hulk. He saw Serafina, ripped off his shirt. I don't know. But he's just there jumping over the fence. And I remember, and you can see Big James is there on this side, and Anubis is on this side. It's a crazy print. Honestly, we just did the crossover so that we could see the print. That was the only reason whatsoever.
Nice.
So yeah, it came out really well. I absolutely love it. But yeah, so it's a gorgeous hardcover. Yes, it was necessary. It's a beautiful cover. It's awesome. And I'm selling, most people sell it for 55 or more, and this is only 29. So you can get the 200 pages for 29. You can get the first one, which is 7 issues for, I think it's 34 on this one. So yeah, I know I got yelled at by one indie creator who's like, "You're selling them too cheap," and I was like, "I got 500 of them, so I got a pretty good price discount for them. So I want to give people, especially in this economy, like no one can afford anything. But it's the easiest way to get caught up. I mean, 13 is coming February 17th, so you can get all caught up and start fresh with 13, which is crazy, by the way, because if you read the end of 12, it's an incredibly intense issue. 12 is 44 pages, and it's crazy, and it's got an intense ending that I've already been told by 2 people that need therapy now. So yeah, I told them it'll be fixed, but yeah, they're not happy with me. So but I love the story, and it was a great way to end that series. And if I was to never continue it, I'd probably be yelled at. But yeah, so intense ending, you got to read it. Easy way to get caught up. And like I said, the pages are gorgeous. I got really lucky with this print. I love the hardcover. Like, I understand soft cover is cheaper. But every single person I asked, every single one of them said if the price was the same, they would always choose hardcover. There was not one person that would want. I'm sure there's somebody out there that's crazy and wants it, but the hardcover just seems so permanent. You know what I mean? Like it's so solid. It's so like just there. So I had to have it. And yeah, there's 500 of them. And the hardest part of the entire thing is storing the freaking things. Like storing them. I still have, I think I'm only down to 7 boxes of the hardcover one. And that's about 200. So I have 200 out of the 500 left, which isn't bad in a year. But yeah, storing them is crazy. So as soon as I can buy the Western, I'm buying another 500. So
that's awesome. So, all right, give us your pitch. Why anybody who's listening to this for the first time, who's never heard of Worthy Chaos and the Redemption series, tell us why they should invest in this product.
If you want to get incredibly bonded and tortured, and I hate seeing myself this big, but if you want to get if you want to fall in love with characters, get completely bonded with them, see them get tortured and drive yourself crazy, this is a story for you. It is nonstop action and very fast paced, but yet there's a lot of character bonding there. There's angels, there's demon, there's giant salamanders, there's hellhounds and Anubis, of course, and all that fun stuff. So if you like anything supernatural, and it's very core, the very core, it's an intense love story without all the mushy stuff. It's just this, they're bonded by love, and it's to these characters. You get to see the extreme. What would you go to? What's the most extreme you would go to for the person that you love the most? And then it's like 5 times more than that. So yeah, you get to follow along on this. And I think the number one thing that you hear about my characters is that you're almost instantly bonded to them. Like you want to see them succeed. You want to see where they go or how it ends. And that's your main thing. You want to see what happens, and you want to, get all the mysteries, but mostly you want to just see what the characters go through. So yeah, that's you want an action, there you go. I don't know what genre it is anymore. It's like I always call it the horror action adventure. Like that's just it's everything. It's got everything in there. So yeah.
That's awesome. Well, it was awesome having you back on. I always learn something new every time you're on the show. You're always welcome back anytime.
I never shut up. And for anyone, the easiest way, I always forget to say it, the easiest way to find us is to just search Worthy Chaos on Kickstarter. 15 things will pop up. We have 2 things still in pre-launch, 1 thing live. There's always something in pre-launch or live. So search Worthy Chaos on Kickstarter, search it on Google, and we pop up anywhere. So
yes, and the link is in the chat, and it's also in the summary of this page. Again, thank you so much for coming on the show. George missed the fact that you're wearing his favorite character on your shirt. So yes, much success to you, and again, you're welcome back anytime.
I'm gonna go set something up for the Western, so we have next year.
There you go. There you go.
All right, thanks,
Awesome.
guys.
You got it. All right, that was Carissa Grant. And again, if you haven't seen it already, hit the link in the summary, hit the link in the chat, head over to Kickstarter. It's Worthy Chaos Redemptions Books 1 and 2 hardcovers. You get all 12 issues. Plus, there's a whole lot more. There's a lot of incentives and a lot of goodies in there. Again, we were just talking about the game has changed, and there's a big push to do print art, and it's been a different arena for the independent comic book creator. And here is an independent comic book creator doing her thing at a high level. And so it is possible for anybody who's on the fence and wondering whether or not they should commit. It is possible. And if you have any more questions, just reach out to her. She's on Facebook, Instagram, and just check it out, Worthy Chaos. And thank you, everybody, for joining me tonight. George the Dreamer Medina is going to be at New York Comic Con. I think it's this weekend. And then next weekend, I will be at Cowtown Comic Con. I'll be hanging out at Cowtown. I think Lori's going to be there. I think Marco is going to be there. I think William is going to be there. So there's going to be a lot of people there. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I got some really cool stuff at Cowtown Comic Con. So come check out my booth. Look for the big banner, Art of Samuel. Look for the orange tablecloth and this big award-winning smile. So it's gonna be fun. I appreciate everybody who joined me tonight. If you like this episode, please hit that like button, subscribe, share it with a friend. Again, remember, Catch the Craze podcast. We are the longest running independent comic book podcast in the game. We're the first one. We are the OGs, founded in 2005, and we're still going strong. We do the show to bring a spotlight to the unsung heroes, all of the independents out there that are trying to make a name in this movement. And when we grow, the independent community grows, and we can't grow without you. So if you're on Spotify or any of the live streaming platforms, head over to YouTube, subscribe, leave us a comment, let the algorithms work in our favor and help spread the word. We definitely appreciate every single one of you. Thank you all. You guys have a fantastic evening. With that said, I am Sam, the crazy man Vera, and we are it's just easy. It's not. Crazy. Acquiesce. No, I was talking about my friend Acquiesce. I met him. Say my name, right? This is what you were thinking? Oh, how you describe me? He said, I'm the
what? Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. To Catch the Craze. You are listening to Catch the Craze on Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze.